talks you've given, the title of your honors thesis, as much information as you can provide. Okay? So they want you to basically describe your project, describe the importance, and describe the results and significance. So the good kind of descriptions of your project was, I was interested in how cancer cells move, I studied this protein, it does this, and maybe somewhere in the future if we make an inhibitor of that protein, it'll be a good drug against cancer. The example at the other end is, I did Western blots. Okay, so not techniques, but questions. That's what people are looking for when you go into grad school. Okay, what your letter of recommendation should say about you. Quality of your work, the ability to think critically, evaluate ideas, ability to work independently, initiative, enthusiasm, interest in research, determination, and perseverance. Those would all be good things to find in a letter. Okay, research proposal, this will be on the website. You know, why is it important to do this research? If I'm reading this, I say, well, why? Well, what my wife tells me about. The only person interested in this is you. You know, if you get that, that's not so important. This is of worldwide importance, someone has to do it. In your research plan, not just, I'll do Western blots, not a cookbook, I'll do Southern blots, and after that I'll do Northern blots. You know, these are questions, this is how I would answer them, this is what the answer is going to be, and what the significance is. Okay, so it'd be nice if all of these were easy to find. When I review research grants, if I have to look for all those things, what was the hypothesis again? What were the aims? It irritates me. I don't give it a good grade. So if yours says, the background is this, the hypothesis is that, the approach is this, significance is that, easy to write, good grade. Okay. Also, well written, well organized, easy to follow. Significance clear, easily understood by someone who's not in your field. So I might be on a panel for all of biology. You know, so if you're working on something that's not my field, I have to be able to understand it. Okay. Maybe I have this somewhere else. The key I was taught when I was a graduate student about giving a seminar is assume of your audience infinite ignorance but infinite intelligence. They know nothing about what you're talking about, but if you tell them a few key points, they're going to catch on right away. So that's what you should aim at. They don't know anything. And finish your first draft early. Give it to your colleagues, people in your lab, other grad students, your current supervisor, and let them look at it, give you comments back. Okay, so this will be on the website too, but sometimes they'll ask you about your career goals and why'd you pick this place? So you should tell them why you picked a certain lab to go to. You know, it's the best lab in the world for studying this. It's in an exciting institute. You know, how the training environment will aid your career. I'll be able to meet lots of scientists. You know, they don't want to say, well, I'll be working in a garage somewhere in, you know, this town and working for this supervisor. I'll never see anyone else. They may not think that. So this is the part that our friend in the back was asking about, the other 20%. What are they looking for? Communication skills. They're looking at your application. Is it well prepared? You know, if there's a lot of misspelling, they might not like that. If you've gotten awards for presentations or papers, statements in your letters saying that you have good communication skills. They've given Journal Club and did a wonderful job. Yeah. Interpersonal leadership skills, interactions. Mentoring and teaching is always very good. Even if it's not science, you've been a volunteer, you've done something. I mean, teaching and communication is a continual part of science. If any evidence that you've done that is terrific. Team leadership from any point, music, sports. Reference letters saying that you're a good lab citizen. You're not what we call the dominant negative who makes everyone else want to leave the lab. And you're helpful, you contribute to group efforts, you clean up after yourself. Okay. Reference letters. Detail, specific examples, exactly what Francois said. They must know you well and be familiar with how you perform in the lab or the class. So you definitely need your current supervisor. You know, if you've just joined a lab, maybe not, but if you're currently working in a lab, been there for a year, you need a letter from your current supervisor. If you don't have a letter from current supervisor, it looks kind of funny. Like maybe you don't get along. Previous supervisors, this is when you become more senior. Other faculty members who can comment on your research or your academic abilities, and you should actually cultivate them. This is for senior grad students. And they'll be asked to comment on your research ability. So if you've had conversations with them about your project and shown that you've got ideas, you've thought about it, you've read some, they'll be able to write very positive things about you. Your oral and written skills, they've seen you give a talk that was very polished. You wrote something that wasn't all filled with misspellings. and just your interpersonal and leadership abilities in the classroom setting, in the department. And they have to give very specific examples. They can't just check outstanding. They have to say, you know, I saw them helping that old lady cross the street. Okay. How to get the best recommendation letter, so advice from our friend Francois. Ask in a very professional manner. Give your sponsor as much information as possible. Do everything except write the letter for them. Okay? Make it easy for them to write. Give them your CV that has all the things that they want to pick out. Oh, and yes, they were in the Olympics, and yes, they worked in Africa, that orphanage. Yeah. If you generate papers, full citations, right? All the authors, including you. Other relevant activities. Give them copies of papers. So if you're going to another professor, maybe you've had them in a class, but you want them to write more, and you're on a scientific paper, an abstract, give them a copy. Attach as a PDF. Copy of your completed application. One of the things they're going to assess is this person capable of carrying out what they proposed, if it's a research project. So if they have a copy, they could say something about that. They propose to work on this, and they can write, yeah, they've had great training to do that.
Here, I both unfortunately had training resumes, not CVs.
Yeah.
I know resume, they tell us to keep it to 2 pages. CVs, is there any such restriction?
The NSERC and CHR have very strict space requirements.
Okay.
Usually, and often they'll ask you to rank things. Sometimes, list your top 5 or something. Not everyone. Yeah, but choose your best ones. Okay. So I'm going to put these on the website. We have lots of time for questions. Now we've rushed through all these boring slides with lots of words, which you can read at your leisure. We have Kelsey, who knows all the answers. Francois knows most of the answers. Tom is our expert. And we have Christine, who is an example of a successful grad student. And not a candidate. Yes. Okay, so now this is your time to ask all those questions. Maybe Tom and Francois and Christine want to talk. Christine, you want to talk? Stand up.
I do just have one comment. It's about the reference letters and how you know if you'll get good ones. So for the CHR, they ask for 7 qualities that you have to, that your sponsors have to talk about. So what I did was basically, I gave them my CV, and then I gave them another document where I said, please talk about these characteristics, and I gave them specific examples of each one. And that's how I know I'm going to get a good reference letter from them, because I know I have those qualities in their lab, or I've demonstrated that quality in their lab. So something like that would be really helpful for your sponsors. So.
How varied should the sources of the reference letters be? For example, is it okay if they're all from the same department, or should it be varied between departments? Should it be all professors?
So I think the key is they should be the best letters. People understand that if most of your life has been going to school and working within the department, maybe most of your referees will all be from the same department, different profs in the same department. The things that, say, I'll give you examples of things that don't work as well. Like instead of getting another prof, you got the grad student that you were working for. Although they may actually know you the best, I think that's not given as much weight. But I don't think you should try to increase diversity, like pass up a prof who would write a good letter in favor of your skiing coach, necessarily, unless you need a good third letter.
How many letters should we?
I think there are 2.
And they're both from professors, or what?
The best letters you can get. So yes, professors.
Yeah, I mean, if you spent a year working abroad doing some humanitarian effort, and they could write wonderful things about you, that would be a fabulous letter. That would be better than the letter saying they were in my class, they answered some questions pretty well, and they got a 93. Oh, sorry.
If I'm planning on taking a year off before starting grad school, do you suggest that I start asking for letters of reference right now with the supervisors that I'm currently with?
For the applications, they have certain forms that the letters of recommendation have to be on. Your sponsors keep these letters. They don't just write them and then delete them off the hard drive. So you might want to ask them now to prepare it when they have time and they know you and it's fresh in their mind, and you're not, the co-op student I had, 5 co-op students ago,
And then ask them for it.
and then they'll keep it and have it. You can also, they are supposed to be confidential, but you can keep copies for yourself if they're willing to provide them for you. I know I have my